Welcome back. We're talking about the travel space itself. We heard from the hotel companies wanting to, expand their reach into tier 2, tier 3, and they're developing new destinations. Aloke Bajpai, the group CEO of La Travenue Tech, commonly known as Ixigo, joins in to talk about how he's planning to, increase traffic to these new destinations via his platform, but more importantly, what the year looks like, what the quarter was as well. Thank you, Alok, for joining in. Earlier, the conversation that was there spoke about spiritual tourism. In the fourth quarter, the biggest spiritual event of the last many decades actually took place, which was the Mahakumbh. I suppose that would have given a big spike to your fourth quarter volumes. If you could give us a qualitative indication of how that was and how the next year looks like for you.
Sure. So I think the fourth quarter was a blockbuster quarter for most travel players out there. I mean, anyone who had anything to do with ground transportation would have seen massive spikes for UP, especially when you look at the bus business where the capacity constraints were not as pronounced and bus operators were very nimble at deploying their assets, in routes in and out of UP. I think there were noticeable increases in volumes that one saw out there. Even on flights, thanks to, the Prayagraj airport operating in full swing. And then also during I think sometime middle of February when you started to see increase in capacity also towards that airport, it was quite a breather. But what we saw in February at the market level was that, fares obviously spiked up because there was a spillover on all other sectors, because remember that a lot of people were feeding into UP from, other sectors, including Delhi, Lucknow, Patna, whatnot. So in that sense, the whole market saw a little bit of a lift there. And when you talk about trains, there were quite a few special trains deployed, towards Prayagraj, and then there's a spillover into Ayodhya, Varanasi, and other spiritual destinations around. So I think for most travel players, that entire period was definitely seeing spikes, in and out of UP. And overall, I think as we head into summer, we are seeing continued surge in demand, especially towards places in the hills.
Hi, Alok. Good to hear your optimism. So you said it was blockbuster for the industry as well. For you, what kind of a growth should we be working with for quarter four? And also, since it was a blockbuster for the industry, what is your updated market share? Did you gain?
Well, if you look at our numbers for quarter three, which was a precursor to what was happening in Q4, right? We had market share gains in all verticals that we operate in, across flights, trains, and buses. And we were the fastest growing OTA in the market, growing our GTV at around 48% YOY. So we crossed 4,000 crores of tickets sold in Q3. It'll be hard for me to guide what happened in Q4, given we're in the quiet period. But what I can tell you is that at an overall market level, definitely, there was acceleration, partly thanks to the Mahakumbh out there.
So you are saying that you did grow faster than the market in the fourth quarter as well?
Well, I'm just saying that the overall market did that. And of course, us being the fastest growing player there, would have followed through.
Got that. We don't want you to get into any sort of regulatory troubles for the fourth quarter. So let's talk about FY26. Given the run rate that you've had in the first 9 months and, what you had earlier targeted for this entire year, on the base of that, do you think 1,000 crore revenue in FY26 with around 65 to 70 crore net profit is a possibility?
Look, I think at this point, given we are a very young company to the markets, we've not finished 12 months since our listing yet. So I think we are not going to go into guiding on revenue or bottom line at this point. All we can say is that we would love to maintain our ability to grow faster than the overall OTA market and other incumbents out there. And I think that's something which has been well on track and has been demonstrated already in the first 3 quarters that we've reported. And we hope to maintain that in the quarters to come.
And your new verticals, I mean, you've been significantly growing share in airlines on a very, very low base, and hotels was something that you announced just before your IPO, and you said that it'll take a couple of quarters. It's been a couple of quarters. you have any clarity on what you are aspiring from the hotels business in terms of revenue? Will it just be cross-selling, or you are, trying to make a new offering here itself? And on airlines, do you have a target of what proportion of your revenue comes in from airlines and hotels over the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate our market strategy here. So we actually are very well penetrated in the tier 2, 3 markets, especially with train at the core there, where we are the market leading OTA. And then, of course, bus has been growing fast as a result of the audience base being very similar. But if you look at the secular story of India, the growth in air and the growth in hotels both are predominantly coming today from the tier 2, 3 markets. I mean, we just had a couple of other folks in this segment which were talking about the same. But essentially, I want to reiterate that a large part of the growth in travel, whether it is for the leading airlines, whether it is for the leading hotel chains, or even for large bus operators, is going to emanate from tier 2, 3 markets, which happen to be our core market, where we happen to have larger market share already. So in that sense, I think we've been a beneficiary of where the market is headed towards. And remember that this part of the market is also significantly under-penetrated. So if you look at hotel penetration in our part of the market, it's lower than what it is in the tier 1 sort of markets. If you look at bus penetration in our part of the market online, it's still much lower. It's almost 20% online penetration. There's still a long way to go in terms of runway over the next few years. So we remain very optimistic as to what the next billion user side of the market is going to do over the next few years. And what we said at the time last we spoke on hotels was it would take a couple of years actually for things to start showing up on that side, because it obviously needs a lot of work. So I think we are happy with the progress we've made so far, and as and when we have more to share, we will.
All right, we will leave you with the promise of joining us after your fourth quarter results. Then we'll have a better handle on what the numbers were during the fourth quarter, and more importantly, you can give us some more details as well.
Well, that's right, Alok. Appreciate you joining, and thanks a lot for helping us out with some details. Well, before we get into that break, just want to address the flash that was up for you on the screen. Nuvama, well, on ABB, they say that the global commentary implies an order inflow of around 3,800 crores. That compares with their estimate of around 3,200 crores, which explains why that stock did see a bit of a fillip. We've got an exact number out there. The India region order was up by close to 100%. We told you that before we went into the break. And now they've quantified it, 3,800 crores, better than what was estimated at around 3,200 crores. Slip into that break, come back. We'll continue our focus on stocks. Maybe we'll get you an updated analysis on ABB India as well. Don't go anywhere.